The movie opens in a supermarket, where a group of thugs arrive and try to rob the place. When they ask for cash at the counter, the cashier claims that the customers pay through credit cards. Suddenly, a young girl, Okju, arrives at the store and tries to buy some buttermilk, while completely unaware of the situation. When the thugs notice a bundle of cash in her hand, they confront her as well. To their amazement, she quickly engages in a combat with the thugs, and skillfully eliminates all of them, revealing herself to be a skilled kung fu practitioner. After dealing with the situation, she continues her shopping, and pays the cashier for the products. Okju is a former bodyguard, who works for the protection of VIP clients, when they travel abroad for their business purposes. One of Okju's friends is introduced in the film, who is labeled as Ballerina in the movie. One night, Okju receives a call from Ballerina, who asks her for some help, and invites her at her apartment, despite the fact that it's almost midnight. Okju arrives at her friend's apartment, and waits outside for her to open the door. When she doesn't receive any response, she enters the apartment by entering the door lock code, and searches for a friend. She finds a gift box in Ballerina's bedroom, which has a pair of shoes, and a letter that states, "Please take revenge for me, I thought you'd be able to help." She realizes that Ballerina might be in trouble, and dials her number. When the cell phone rings in the bathroom, she goes to check, and finds Ballerina dead in the bathtub, who committed suicide. She leaves her apartment in despair, and goes through a flashback, when she met Ballerina for the first time. Okju went to buy a cake for a birthday, and engages in a friendly conversation with Ballerina. When Okju reveals that it's her birthday, Ballerina quickly recognizes her as a school friend, and they visit a restaurant to spend some time together. The flashback ends, and Okju returns home. According to the letter, she searched through the internet for someone called Chef Choi, and comes across a food delivery service. She starts a chat with Choi, and places an order for a box of soy sauce, but Choi ends the chat without further discussion. After that, she receives a call on Ballerina's cell phone, apparently from Choi. Okju remains silent and pretends to be Ballerina. The man threatens her to meet him at Jansu Bridge at 2 a.m., or he will destroy her life. She arrives at the specified location, and waits for someone to show up. Choi arrives at the bridge, and dials Ballerina's number, as Okju is watching from a distance. She finally recognizes Choi as the blackmailer, and starts following him. She eventually arrives at his house, and waits till the next morning. When Choi leaves the house the next day, she breaks into his house, and places some microphones around the living room. During further investigation, she finds some weird objects in his closet, which are used in submissive pornography, known as BDSM. She also finds numerous USB drives, with names written on each of them. One of the drives is labeled as Ballerina, and when she checks, she finds that Choi victimized Ballerina by filming a submissive porn, which resulted in the blackmailing. Later that evening, when Okju is listening through the microphones, she learns that Choi is a sex trafficker, who films submissive porn of innocent girls, and uses the videos for extorting money. Choi receives a call from a friend, and decides to visit a club called Heaven the following night. She visits the same club, and spots Choi upstairs. When she follows him, Choi surprises her, by mistaking her as one of his friends. Taking advantage of the opportunity, she tricks him in spending the night with her, in an attempt to finish what she started. He takes her to the same motel, where he shoots his submissive sex videos. He rents the most luxurious suite of the hotel, and takes Okju inside. He offers her a drink, in an attempt to make her pass out. He puts on his mask, and starts filming Okju's sex video, while completely unaware that Okju is just pretending to be asleep. She wakes up in the interim, and stabs him with a knife, but fails. They engage in a combat, and Choi nearly overpowers her, since he is also a skillful kung fu practitioner. She still manages to beat him down, and brutally slices his mouth with the knife. Before she could kill him, the man from the reception intervenes with a shotgun, revealing the fact that the motel staff is also involved in the matter. Okju still manages to escape the room, but comes across a man with a chainsaw. As he attacks her, a young victim emerges from a room in the hallway, resulting in the man's injured leg. The girl teams up with Okju, and they flee in Choi's vehicle. Choi receives medical care and wakes up, while surrounded by his gang of sex traffickers. The gang leader laughs at Choi, and mocks him for being unable to handle a young girl. After that, the leader claims that he doesn't really care about him, and orders Choi to bring the girl back alive. Okju converses with that girl in the interim, who is a high school student, and decides to forge a plan against the gang. Okju reaches out to an old friend, and asks for some weapons, in order to strategize the best way to attack the gang. Her friend sends an old couple for the purpose, who offers Okju some useless weaponry, which include some firearms, and a flamethrower. Okju is unhappy by the old weaponry, but still buys some revolvers, and prepares herself for the battle. She visits a nearby supermarket, and buys some snacks for the night. When she returns, she is unable to find the girl in the apartment. Suddenly, two of Choi's gang members attack her, but she flees through the window. Choi reports to the gang leader that he killed Okju and buried her in the mountains, despite the fact that he ordered him to bring her back alive. After that, Choi questions the girl and asks about Okju's location, but she doesn't speak. In an attempt to get the details, he starts torturing her. In the meantime, Okju visits the same motel and kills the receptionist. Then, she confronts the second guy, who earlier attacked her with the chainsaw, and asks about Choi's location before killing him. After learning about the gang's address, she visits the place with the gun, and confidently passes through the horse stable. She comes across 3 gang members in an elevator and kills them, who were unable to recognize her as a danger. She enters the main building, where hundreds of gang members are performing their duties. She grabs everyone's attention, and asks about the young girl. The gang leader shows up, and doesn't take her seriously. He begins to mock her, and receives a headshot as a result, shocking everyone around her. She pulls the trigger once more, but the gun malfunctions, giving them a chance to attack her. She still uses the second revolver, and kills hundreds of gang members, resulting in a bloody massacre. The super combat ends with only one guy remaining, who is brutally tortured by Okju, until he reveals about Choi's location. She leaves the main building, and comes across one of Choi's friends, who is taking the tortured young girl away. She holds him at gunpoint, but receives a shot from Choi. Choi kills his friend as well, in order to end the conversation. As Choi approaches her, the other girl wakes up and fires at him, but fails to kill him. Okju then uses a small pocket revolver, and shoots him twice. The girls take him to a beach, while he is still alive. He begs for his life, and claims that she doesn't need to do this, because he hasn't done anything wrong to her, to which she replies that she's the ballerina. She uses the flamethrower, which she bought earlier from the old couple, and savagely burns him to death. After that, Okju has a last flashback of the ballerina, in which the girls can be seen at the same beach spot, where Okju just killed Choi. Ballerina claims that she always wanted to be like a fish, and that she visits this spot to enjoy her life. Okju arrives at Choi's house in the morning, and takes away all the videos that contain the filming of the victims. The movie ends with her driving off into the sunrise.